Welcome to Economics is Everywhere, where we debate current events and issues through the macroeconomic lens. We hope these debates will be edifying as well as entertaining, and it's our aim to disagree without being disagreeable so that the discussion will continue and more thoughtful solutions to modern problems will be discovered. Our team present two sides of a topic so that you, the viewing audience, will be better informed. Scoring for this debate is more heavily weighted towards content than technique. However, it probably goes without saying that the effectiveness of the presentation is often what wins the day, especially in a close debate. Today's topic on Economics is Everywhere debates from inside the boardroom of Major League Baseball. First, the pro team will argue in favor of a salary cap. Next, the con team argues against the proposed change in policy. The difference in the teams will be relying on Keynesian economic theory that believes regulations are better than the market, and they will support their position and persuade us that the Major League Baseball should put restrictions on salaries. Let's see how it goes.
The MLB is the only professional sports league in the United States that does not use the salary cap. This allows large market teams to rule the free agent market, bringing in all the big-name players and winning the majority of the World Series championships. This causes an unequal balance of the amount of talented, popular players in each market. The MLB has the advantage of playing 145 more regular season games more than the NFL does, yet the NFL still generates more revenue than the MLB. Why is this? Simply, poor distribution of talent and success drives fans away from a sport that is supposed to be considered America's pastime. This chart represents the uneven distribution of World Series titles between teams. In this chart, the medium market teams represent every team from the team with the fourth most amount of World Series titles to the team with the 20th most. Most of the medium market teams in this chart are considered to be large market teams, for example, the Tigers and Dodgers. But just to show that some teams even some big market teams can't keep up with the largest markets in the sport, we included them with the middle market teams. Remember, not every small market team has won a World Series yet, so this data looks better than it actually is. Here's a look at the Super Bowl championships. The salary cap doesn't allow NFL teams to be considered a big market team or a small market team because each team has the right to pay its player an even amount. These teams are separated based on revenue, and surprisingly small revenue teams have actually won more championships than the large revenue. Now you might be asking yourself, why does the salary cap make such a drastic difference?
The answer is simply distribution of talent. The worst teams in the NFL get the right to draft the best collegiate players the next year. For example, with this would be the Colts, who finished last place last year in the NFL, and they won the rights to draft the number one player, quarterback out of Stanford, Andrew Luck. They punned at this, calling it suck for luck, because they knew that with signing Luck, their team would be much better off, and actually coming in last place would benefit them. As you can see, distribution of success and talents go hand in hand. This causes upward movement and demand of fans who want to go out and support their favorite teams. Now, in the MLB, with such unfair distributions of talents and success, it causes small market teams to struggle. The chart states that the New York Yankees' top 5 paid players are paid more than 21 teams' combined entire roster. If you are a Miami Marlins fan, what drives you to spend money at a game? If the opportunity cost of going to the baseball game decreases with its team's likeliness to win. To furthermore prove how unfair the playing field is with small market teams, consider this. Alex Rodriguez, the New York Yankees' third baseman, made over $8 million more than the entire Florida Marlins roster did in 2009. The Yankees' payroll was $209 million that season, and they went on to win their 27th World Series championship as a franchise.
In addition of a salary cap, in Major League Baseball would benefit their fans, their smaller market teams, and their overall revenue. A salary cap would drive ticket prices down and drive the competitiveness of the league up, causing more of a demand to go out to the game along with the more reason to go. Fans would more likely be able to spend money on going to watch the MLB teams because they would be more likely to both be able to see the most talented players more often as well as compete for World Series championships more often. The cap would also allow the MLB to keep up with other very successful leagues such as the NBA and NFL, both in popularity and overall profit. In conclusion, more fans, more profit, more publicity, and profitable. Go with the cap and you can't go wrong.
The amount each team is allowed to spend on their overall salary should not be limited to a certain amount by any means. The owner should be allowed to make our own decisions in regards to how much we are willing to spend on our respective team salaries. Underlying most arguments against the free market is a lack of belief in freedom itself. Milton Friedman explains freedom is the basic fundamental principle of the free market. Therefore, less regulation is good for society, the national economy, but most importantly, it is good for us, the owners of Major League Baseball teams. We do not need to implement a salary cap that will decrease competition, which will lead to decreased revenues. A salary cap will, in some cases, cause a decrease in player salaries, and when their salaries are decreased, their loyalties will stray from their owners, which will cause a decrease in demand for tickets and decrease revenue. We all realize that we are in business, but we do not need our governing body, Major League Baseball, to regulate our spending and financial decisions. Both the National Football League and the National Basketball Association have established salary caps in hopes that the salary cap would help them even out the playing field by limiting team spending on certain players. That has not happened. It is believed that the higher paid teams are always the ones in championships or final rounds, which is not the case. In the MLB, the highest paid team, the Yankees, have been beat out for the playoffs 5 separate times in 10 years. They were beat out by the low market Rays, low market meaning low paid, alongside the Yankees. Oakland, considered an underdog and also low market, and 4 other MLB teams finished their seasons in the top 5 in their league. This year, the NFL started off their season with replacement referees, the NBA faces a lockout, and the NHL is heading into a downfall. All 3 of those professional sports institutions partake in a salary cap, and yet all 3 have no loyalty to their owners. All the while, the MLB remains strong and united, and the owners are committed to their players, who are committed to each other, and the teams are committed to the sport itself. The owners of the MLB should be able to pay their players as they see fit in a free market. The team salaries have a huge impact on how much the players' salaries can be. By limiting how much each team can spend on players, our economy in baseball is no longer self-regulating. However, we will be forced to proceed with a price ceiling in which we do not agree nor support. Their salaries would be affected as a result of a regulation, and this is not the way it should be. The market should be able to and is capable of setting its own prices and rewarding each player for their hard work and skill set. Contrary to free market principles, a salary cap reduces the incentive for a top player to play the game at their highest level simply because they are aware that they are no longer will be able to earn a high salary. That is compared to that of a far lesser player. Going back to the teams, if they are able to be successful and build their capital like the New York Yankees, then they should be able to spend as much money on players as they want to.
Now we do a rapid fire round. Debate.
I would say that you said that the New York Yankees are the most successful team and have built the largest revenue, right? But you also, in the same statement, stated that they have been beaten out for the playoffs 5 out of the last 10 years.
When you say that the salary cap will allow the teams to, have their fair share of good players and balanced amount of good players in each team, this isn't true. Just take a look at the NBA, where over the last few years, teams such as the Heat and Lakers have been able to collect a bunch of super players and have, it's created a gap between some of the best teams and some of the worst teams in the league. There are other ways of having talented players in an MLB team without having a salary cap. Teams such as the Washington Nationals and Tampa Bay Rays, who are approximately in the bottom third of the MLB as far as salary is concerned, have had a decent amount of success recently with being able to develop players in the minor leagues as well as through the draft. As seen in the attached list of the 2012 MLB salaries, the New York Mets and Atlanta Braves have their fair share of quality players.
Teams that do have low budget and are usually successful, by the time that their players' contracts went up, they usually get fed to the big market teams. So let's look at the 2003 Florida Marlins, who overall payroll was $45 million. And they beat the New York Yankees, who had $153 million payroll. On that team was Josh Beckett, A.J. Burnett, Brad Penny, Juan Pierre, Derek Lee, Ivan Rodriguez, Miguel Cabrera, all signed with big market teams the second that their contract was over. Small market teams that end up successfully. All their players go to the big market teams. They're almost, in that sense, a minor league baseball team.
That is a good point. However, it can be seen in the NBA as well. For example, Dwight Howard was a very good player on Atlanta Magic. They weren't able to win a championship after those few years, and after that, he kind of got fed up and wanted to make more money, and then he ended up going to the Lakers.
We only have 30 seconds left for closing statements. Keynes, take it away.
Picture yourself as a free agent, not for a Major League Baseball team, but for a science class. You get to pick your partner for the upcoming lab. 1 out of the 25 students are a science major. Who are you going to pick? You're going to pick that one student strictly because it will give you the best grade. Now picture yourself in the same situation, but all 25 students are science majors. You're going to base your pick upon who you like to work best with, who's closest to your home, and whatever will benefit you the most, not just because of grade. You will actually base your money, base your decision rather than just upon money and one-sidedness. You will actually pick where your heart is and where you think you would work best.
Things to think about. You have the last word, Kleskill.
We, the owners of Major League Baseball, we need to work in a free market. All of our economic indicators, whether it be advertising, ticket sales, memorabilia sales, all those are indicators of our free market. And we should have the right to pay players as we see fit. If we want to pay a player X amount of dollars, we should have that right. The free market is going to establish those prices, with equilibrium. And our entrepreneurial spirits shouldn't be hindered by a higher governing body, Major League Baseball, telling us how much to pay a player and how much, for ticket prices or whatever. All that goes back to the free market idea. We should have the right to pick and choose salaries we see fit, which are going to benefit our teams and raise our revenues. And that's the sole purpose here. Yeah, it's a game, it's a sport, but overall it's a business. And we, the owners, are in the business of making money, and our revenues will increase the most in a free market.
Something tells me that this debate is not over. And may it continue in your households and around a glass of beverage as you discuss Major League Baseball this summer. I want to thank everyone who worked so hard to put this presentation together, and thank the handsome and debonair members of Viking Video Technologies for their assistance in the production of today's debate. Remember, economics is everywhere.